on the? Will that come up on the mic if I
It,
suck on a
sh-
coffee shop?
Oh, wait a
it
minute, hold on.
shouldn't. It shouldn't.
No, it should. It'll cut you off, though, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, you guys. Welcome, everybody. Thank you guys for coming through. This morning we are going to be speaking on the topic of colorism, and I welcome your comments. I welcome your input. Respectfully, thank you, Captivated Christian, for being in it, for my pod, for being ready to go. Abs, if you don't mind, I'm gonna mute you, boo.
No problem. I understand.
Okay. Okay. But we're gonna get Eb is working double duty right now, so we're gonna definitely get but we definitely gonna get her on here. So Abby Reviews, as you guys know, she's my big sister. You have seen her often on the panels. So she is joining us today. And then we also have Simone Moore. If you guys were over on Spill It Boy TV's channel last week, he started a new segment called Spill Your Guts, and she joined us there. So Simone, you could go ahead and say hi to everybody and anything you want to share with us. I already know one question that I've already been asked, but I'm gonna let you go ahead and put that on there. Say what you want to say, and then we'll move forward.
I just want to say good afternoon, chat. Hello, everyone. I'm looking forward to being on the chat with these lovely ladies again. And I'm ready. I am a victim of colorism. So this is a beautiful topic for me. I am one of 6 children, and I am the darkest of my parents' children. So out of all my parents' kids, I am the only dark-skinned child.
Okay.
So I have great experience in this subject.
Okay, because that was actually going to be my next question, because we were already asked, were there going to be any dark-skinned people on the panel? So you would identify yourself, you would consider yourself dark-skinned?
Yes, I would consider myself dark-skinned. People say brown skin. What's the difference to me? Brown skin, dark skin, it's the same.
Well, see, now that's important, and I'm going to tell you why in a second.
I know what you're about to say. Yeah, but to me, I consider myself dark-skinned.
You consider yourself dark-skinned. Okay,
Yeah.
But what do other people consider you when they look at you?
It depends. It depends. Some people will say I'm dark-skinned. Some people will say I'm brown-skinned. So it's just a matter of that person's opinion. But me personally, I say I'm dark-skinned. I have no issue with being.
And the reason why I say that is because I do not identify myself as light-skinned. I don't like being described as light-skinned. I don't like people call me light-skinned. And so that's why I say that it matters, because other people's perception of me is that I'm light-skinned. But Evie says you are. I'm explaining in a second why I don't, because I figured out why I don't like it, and I'll explain in a minute why I don't like it. But what I do want to say is this: some people might say, well, because I'll reiterate what Spiller Boy said over on his channel the other day. Simone is not a content creator, and so I respect the fact that she chooses to not be on camera, but her input is valid and important. Simone has been very active in my chat, and we don't always agree. And that's another reason why I want her on here, because I already know me and her don't agree on some of these issues we're going to discuss today. But I think it's important that we have differing opinions, because it's boring if everybody all agrees, and we have disagreed in the chat on many topics. So, so I just wanted to address that before somebody say, why she ain't on screen. She's not on screen because we're going to respect the fact that she is not a content creator, and she chooses not to be. But again, that does not make her voice any less important to the topic at hand. Now, Lady Nika was going to join us today, but if you are familiar with Lady Nika, you know that she has days where she does not feel well, and this was not a good day for her. And so I told her, don't worry about it. She told us to go ahead, and we're going to definitely have a part 2, because this is not a topic you can cover in an hour and a half. So we will definitely have a part 2, and we will make sure that the lady is available. Okay. So those of you who I told you guys Lady Nika was going to be here, I just want to let y'all know why you don't see Lady Nika. Now, with that being said, like I was saying, I don't like being described as light skinned, and I'm gonna tell you why. I figured out why. Other people's perception of me might be light skinned, and that's fine. That's you can have your opinion. But I didn't like it, and I guess it goes to the heart of the issue of colorism. I don't like being described as light-skinned because it almost, the minute somebody says, well, you're light skinned, it's almost as if they're throwing privilege at me to say, well, you know, you're light skinned, you wouldn't understand, or you're light skinned. Like when people lead with a description of my complexion, it always follows with the insinuation that there is some privilege. And so I don't like being described that way. Out of my brothers and sisters, I'm the lightest of the three. And so, you know, there would be comments made when we were growing up about that, you know. So I think for me, I believe that's where it comes from, that I don't like being identified as light skinned. I don't like being called that, because I always feel like that's what comes behind it, is that insinuated privilege. So, Abby, I didn't ask you, what would you call yourself? How do you identify yourself complexion wise?
It depends on who's talking to me. And honestly, it depends. And sometimes it depends on my hair color. Because right now my hair is dark, so my skin tone looks darker. When I had blonde hair, I looked lighter. So it just depends. I don't consider myself to be light skinned. However, I have a daughter who is James Caldwell's complexion, and she calls me light bright. Right. So it just depends on who it is. It just depends on who it is that is looking at me. That determines like whether or not I am considered light skinned or not. I don't like being called light skinned either. I by no means do I think I'm dark skinned, but
yeah, I don't either. Yeah.
I'm not light enough to be called red bone or any of those high yellow or any of those other things. I've been told by my grandmother I would barely pass the brown paper bag test, you know, that type of thing. But yeah.
Right. And I mean, I have been I have been a victim of colorism on the opposite. I won't say on the opposite end. I was, before we do that, let me put this definition up. Now, y'all know I'm still playing around with this share screen stuff. So hold on, let me put this colorism. I want to put the definition of colorism up. All right, can y'all see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, I'm still playing around with this share screen stuff. So I just want to, because the reason why I want to put the definition up, not because I think anybody doesn't understand it, but I want to make sure that we're on the same page. So colorism is defined as prejudice or discrimination against individuals with dark skin tone, typically among people of the same ethnic or racial group. And so I think, first of all, that by definition, that dispels some mindset in reference to colorism existing within the Black community, the Afro-Latina community, the Latino community. So it's identified as within your own community. And it also, I think, strikes down using the term when you're telling a white person that or a person outside of your ethnic group, I should say, that it's colorism. No, when they do it, it's just racism or prejudice. But when it's coming from within your own group, then that's where the colorism comes from. I mean, would we agree with that per se? Like necessarily?
While he's quiet, I first of all, this definition is disturbing to me. So you can only be colorist against somebody of a darker skin tone? Is that what it's saying? So if you're a lighter skin tone and somebody's treating you some kind of way, it's not colorism? Is that what the definition is saying?
It says prejudice or discrimination against individuals with a dark skin tone. So I guess if you're a light skin, you can't be a victim of colorism. What? What's going on? What? What? Okay. I understand. Like I said, y'all, Abby is on double duty, y'all. Abby is on double duty.
I'm sorry, he playing with the toy. He quiet. Y'all just let us have this. Just let us have this.
I agree with you, Andy, on that aspect. I think colorism can be both ways. It could be a dark-skinned person who has issues with someone who's light complected. So I think this is a very bogus definition of colorism.
And all I did, as y'all can see, is Google up there. All I did was Google colorism defined.
But is this the Western?
Yeah,
is this the Western term for it?
Yeah, it's Google's definition. I didn't go no deeper.
Okay.
And let me say this too. My issue with that is because I feel like my problem with that definition is that from where I sit, I feel like the majority of the criticism when we start dealing with racism, it comes from darker skinned people accusing lighter skinned people of colorism. That's where from where I sit. And I'll give you the example. I got drugged. Okay, let me just I'm gonna be clear. I got drugged during this year's basketball season of Basketball Wives. Okay,
yes, you did.
I did. Okay, I was called all kinds of racists and everything else, and a lot of the people that were throwing that term at me were darker skinned people. So that's why I'm saying when I've gotten accused of colorism, and most of the time when I get accused of it, or even when I see it in the news and I see people, on making videos and stuff like that, it's usually darker skinned people talking about lighter skinned people being colorist towards them. So I don't know. I know for myself, I just have an issue with that term. I think it's overused. And I don't think that every example of people's, and we're going to talk about preference versus colorism. We're going to talk about that. But I don't think that everybody who has a difference of opinion, just because the people involved are light skin, dark skin, I don't think it's always a colorist issue. And I have an issue. I feel like that's low hanging fruit. And I think it's too easy to just blame it on, oh, well, you just colorist. Oh, well, you just colorist. You just colorist. No, I'm not a colorist. No, I'm not. I don't see it the way you see it. I don't agree. And that doesn't make me racist or colorist or whatever. That's just how I look at it. Simone, I'm going to let you speak and then we'll come back through to Ebony.
Well, I'm going to play Angel's Advocate here.
Okay, I like the term Angel's Advocate.
Here, because what I'm going to say is this. A lot of times when you have a dark-skinned person speaking on it, it's because they have experienced that for someone light-skinned. Do I feel that people overuse the term and sometimes misuse the term? Mm-hmm. Yes, I do. Mm-hmm. I think that that's the easiest go-to. Oh, well, she didn't pick me because I was dark-skinned, or vice versa. So I do agree with that to a certain extent, but then walking in a person who is dark-skinned shoes, I can tell you that you kind of get that way at times. Like I gave the story about, I'm one of 6. I'm my parents' darkest child. My sister, who's a doctor, she is light-skinned. She's light. My baby brother, he will be considered, and my brothers will all be considered caramel. Except for maybe my older brother, he's light skinned also. I am dark skinned. I have had people in my family say, my grandfather, I remember he said to me one time, oh, as she's gotten older, she's lightened up. I had to be about 10 years old when he said that. Now, what's crazy is my dad's father is African American. My mother's father is Afro-Cuban. My grandfather speaks Cuban. He is 100% Cuban, came from Cuba. My grandfather has never did anything differently, spoke on our colors or anything. My grandfather is Cuban. My grandfather, who was African-American, was the one who always had something to say when it came to our colors. Like he said to me, that comment, he always favored my sister. When she graduated from med school and she had her cake there, mind you, I had graduated from law school. I was getting ready to graduate from law school and everything else. He goes, she's always been my favorite. And I'm sitting there like, well, wow. When you were in the hospital, I brought you food. I did this, I did that. And that's when I just realized my grandfather had an issue. After he left my grandmother, I noticed every girlfriend that he had was bright light skin. So I've dealt with this. I've had people tell me I'm the milkman's baby. I've had a lot of things said to me.
I've heard, but see, I've gotten that same thing on the opposite end. My brother is so darker.
It's kind of hard when you've been beat up all these years for your complexion that you don't say things like colorism. Now, colorist. So me personally, I know the difference in the definition, so I'm not so quick to turn around and throw, oh, they're being colorist out there. You could have somebody who's just prejudiced. You could have somebody who just, that's their preference. A bunch of roles play into that. But unless someone is telling you, I'm not doing this because you are dark skinned or I didn't like your complexion, then you just can't assume that it's colorist. It's how I feel about the situation.
Okay, Abby, hold on. Let me unmute you. Abby. Oh, she muted herself. Okay, here we go.
That one over there in the corner is out of control. I don't like to speak for others. I have, unfortunately, I haven't experienced any colorism towards me necessarily. Now with my children, I had 4 kids. 3 of them were light skinned, and one of them is a chocolate baby. And the chocolate baby, they was, when I had them all together, they was like, "Oh, is that your niece?" Because she didn't look like the others. I was like, "No, she belongs to me. Her daddy is chocolate, so she's chocolate. I don't understand. That's not what that is." I also don't like colorism when it's used as a blanket term.
Yes.
When a darker skinned person, if you decide to criticize them in any way, shape, or form, if you decide not to agree with them, and it's because I'm dark skinned that X, Y, and Z. Well, no, sometimes it's just because you're a bitch and I don't like you. It has nothing to do with the color of your skin, boo.
Well, at the end of the day, somebody's going to get the job and somebody isn't. It's not always because you were dark skinned. Sometimes you just weren't the person they wanted. Sometimes, like you said, I may not want to be your friend because I don't want to be your friend because I don't like you. It's not because you're dark skinned or because I'm light skinned. And I do think that it is an overused term, and I do think it's a flat out term sometimes, and it makes it just like racism. Just like when people make everything about racism, it dilutes the pool when there's a real situation. And so I want to acknowledge the chat, and then we're going to talk about some specific situations. And like I said, y'all, we'll definitely have a part 2 because this is a lot. I want to acknowledge the chat. I want to thank, Raphael made a comment. He said, what I'll do is try to put some of the comments up on the screen, you guys. When I was in high school, I got told that I was too dark, and for a long time, I felt that way. Danielle talked about her family being a rainbow and how her aunt was discriminated against for being light-skinned. Loving my piece that I don't think I was light enough to be cute or brown enough to have pretty skin like my mom. See, we put these things on people and we make them feel some kind of way. Dre Lipscomb was saying how he didn't think he was light skinned, but I think other people identify him as light skinned. I see your comment, Lamone. I'm not ignoring you, baby, but that's a whole nother history lesson. You said, let's talk about the island of Hispaniola being cut in half. And we know one half is Dominican, the other half is Haitian. That's a whole other look. We could do a whole nother live on that. So I didn't want you to think, I don't want the chat to think I'm ignoring them. I see you guys, and what I'll do is I'll try to start putting some of your comments up on the screen. So let's talk about some specific situations and see where we stand on it. We might as well just go ahead and start with them girls basketball wise. Let's just go and start with basketball wise. Now, I did a video during the season in reference to this. And again, here's the thing. I don't have no problem with people disagree with my opinion on my reviews. I had somebody today on one of my reviews tell me that I needed to stop doing reviews and go exercise. So I don't have no problem with people leaving nasty comments. It is what it is. What I do have a problem with, I guess I am sensitive to being called a racist. I'm very sensitive to being called a colorist because you don't know me. And you don't know about me in reference to what I do, what I don't do, how I feel, how I don't feel, and what types of things I've done in my private life in reference to racism, what types of committees, protests. You don't know what I've done. And so that did bother me. And it bothered me to the point where I was really almost ready to stop reviewing the show. Now, let's talk about OG versus Evelyn. I'm just going to ask the one question first of all. I'm going to go down the panel. Do you think that the OG, that the people not liking OG on the show, do you think that was related to her being a dark-skinned woman? Or do you think it was related to her personality? Or do you think it was a combination? I'll go ahead and start with Simone, and then Ebony, I'll come to you only because you muted, girl.
I think it was a combination of both. But I more so think it has more so to do with her color. I felt that they picked on that woman because they had something to say every time she did anything. Let's go back to last season when she wore her African garb and she had to think. They had so much to say about her. So I do believe a lot of it is colorist towards OG.
When she wore her African garb, so what were you talking about?
When she had the welcome party or the pool party, and they sat there and critiqued her. She had the African hat on, and then the bathing suit. They talked about how saggy her boobs were. They talked about how everything about her was negative. It was never, this is this woman in her natural body. But see, that's a different thing I have with all them heifers on that show, period. I think all of them are, what's the word? It'll come to me in a minute. But I think all of them are immature as hell. And on top of being immature, I think all of them have this preconceived idea of what beauty is, considering they're walking around with fake breasts and fake behinds, and she didn't have that. So do I think her personality, well, if you're getting beat up all the time or everybody's talking about you, eventually you will become mean or you will start saying things. I felt that she dished out what they were giving her. I personally do think it has something to do with her color. Every time their comeback for her was ugly. What made that woman so ugly? That's your opinion. I don't find her
to be okay. You're right. That's my opinion.
I don't find her ugly.
I do not think she's attractive. But why
I don't think Evelyn, and I don't think Evelyn is beautiful as everyone makes her out to be. That woman looks okay. She's not just extraordinary beautiful. She's your everyday Puerto Rican woman you can see walking down the street with expensive clothes on. So me personally, I find beauty in everyone. And I don't find African features ugly. I don't think OG is ugly. That's my opinion.
Well,
Do I think she's Miss America or Miss Nigeria? No. I don't think those things either. But she's not an ugly woman, in my opinion.
See, I don't. Okay, see now this is where we getting into the meat of it. Abby, I'm gonna go ahead and let you speak, babe, and then I'll add what I gotta add.
Okay, so one, Evelyn looks mean to me. That's just her whole aura, her whole face is always like her, like she. So that's where I stand with Evelyn. I think she's rude. OG, I haven't watched the show enough to know. I was gonna Google a picture of her so I could look and see what she looked like because I don't know because I had too many. My life is too much. It's too much to add other people's bullshit on top of it. So I don't know. But even if my first comeback to you is that you're ugly, it may not have anything to do with your skin color. It may just be your eyes is too close together, or your nose is too wide, or something, or the amalgamation of all of your features just is not aesthetically pleasing to me. It may not. I may think your skin is beautiful, but your face look like you've been run over by a paving truck. That's just what it is. And if you add an ugly personality on top of aesthetically unpleasing features, it just makes it worse. So just because their comeback is that you're ugly doesn't necessarily, and it may not even necessarily be your face is ugly. They talk about your insides is ugly, therefore it makes you ugly. So
from where I sit,
it could be both.
Right. So from where I sit, let me retract. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So I do not find her attractive, but I do not think that me not finding her attractive is because she has African features. I do not believe that is why I don't find her attractive. And I will agree, Ebony, that I don't find her personality attractive, and I do not find her attractive. I think the most beautiful that she has looked on this show there are two occasions where I thought she looked beautiful. The first occasion was at her retirement party when she did come out in her full African garb and she looked gorgeous. That outfit she had on was gorgeous and she looked gorgeous. And then at the reunion, before she put all that damn makeup on, when I just saw her natural face, I thought she looked better without all that daggone makeup and eyelashes and all that other stuff that she does than when she gets her face done. That's my opinion. Now, with that being said, going back to the first episode that we saw OG on, OG came on this show hot. OG turned me off from the first episode because she came on this show hot. She came on there talking shit. She came on there being rude to people. She came on there throwing shade. She did it at the pool party. And you're right. They were talking about her at the pool party, but they talk about everybody. Again, I don't feel that it was colorist. I feel like that's what they it's a hazing thing. I feel like they were hazing her because she was the new girl. Now,
but you can't say her. That's her personality. Then when she responds back,
no. What I'm saying is I feel like she came on hot. She came on there talking about people just like everybody else. Go back to that first episode, Simone.
Wasn't she with Jackie in the store or something? She was with Jackie, right? Because see, I haven't watched it that much. She was with Jackie. Jackie said she wanted to introduce her to the people. Jackie was talking about people. I don't really remember OG saying anything the first time. Then when they came to her party, they were shading her. And she started getting shady, but she did have. Now, I will say this: something about she had preconceived ideas because of Jackie ass. So you're right; she did have some kind of she had some kind of preconceived ideas about the ladies because Jackie had already put that in her head.
Right. So what I'm saying is, so for me, like even at the pool party when she came after Kristen, she started that with Kristen. Kristen didn't start with her. She started with her. And then, to throw out there about her husband. Oh, well, is he married? Like you know that if you're a woman and somebody throws that at you, you already know where that is and you know what that's about. So the reason why I bring that up is my opinion of OG started there. And then she got into it with what's her face about her hair. And that's when they had the wig party because old girl was like, I know you did not come for me in my hair when your hair looked like that. So yes, I believe that OG gave as good as she got. Now, let me say this. Do I think that they decided they did not like OG and that OG couldn't get away with things that other people could get away with? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I don't think it was because of her dark skin. I don't think it's because of her African features. I think it was her personality. And she started spinning that narrative and people picked up on it. And I don't believe it. And that is where it bothered me because I feel like, okay, so you're going to make this about the fact that you're African. And you're going to make it seem like that everybody on there just hates you because you're African. And I don't believe that was ever the case. I don't. So,
we're going to have to agree to disagree because I do think that played a part in it. I do believe that they became a group of mean girls and they decided that they was going to pick on this little dark-skinned woman. I do. You got Malaysia, who once was a brown-skinned girl. She's the color of, I don't know what, beige now. You have all of them, and everybody talking about Jennifer is the dark-skinned girl. Jennifer sits around there and kisses and runs behind them. OG didn't. So that's a big difference. Jennifer will sit there and tell a lie just to get along. What really made me realize that this was some BS between all of them is when Evelyn started that crap with her. And then that ugly, funny, bull-nosed Shawnee O'Neal said, Jesus loves you, OG. Then I was through with all of them because I saw what it was. And I do believe her. They thought she was uglier than them, and they were all going to team up and go against her. Do I think she's done things that is questionable? Yes. Now, do I care about that she did it to Kristen? I think Kristen is just as nasty as the day is long and a follower. So whatever Kristen got, Kristen dealt. Just the same thing you said about OG. I feel the same way about Kristen. I feel the same way about Evelyn. I feel the same way about all of them. All of them are nasty, unlikable women.
I
if you
agree.
really want to be honest.
And that's why when people were coming for me, I said, let's be clear. I don't like none of these women. I don't have a favorite on basketball.
I don't either.
So when people was coming at me like, like I did something to them, I'm like, but I don't like none of them. I'm not an Evelyn fan. I'm not first of all, I just started, and that's the other thing. And this is, I'm going to say this and then because I don't want to go too far off in another direction. I feel like people were coming at me wanting me to react to stuff that I don't know anything about. I just started watching the damn show. So y'all want me to go back to season 1 when Evelyn said this about somebody? I don't care. I don't know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, Lady T, check your email, baby. I saw you. Lady T, check your email. So, okay. So, Abby, you want to add to it? Because again, we're not, I already knew starting this conversation, that means you weren't going to agree, Simone, but I want us to give our opinions and let everybody feel the way they feel. You know what I'm saying? Because I do think we need to hear, again, I'm doing this so we can hear everybody hear their different opinions on it. Abby, you want to add to it, or you preoccupied? Okay, baby.
Well, while we're talking, let's just go with another narrative that I feel is on all these reality shows that I don't like. And I said I was really considering stop watching Bravo because I really feel that Andy allows a lot of, this is the difference between racism and colorism. I'm about to give the example. I think he allows a lot of racist things to go on underhandedly. But the minute you say something about gay, Andy is on it. Or Jewish people, Andy is on it. If you look at me and you both look at other housewives, I always comment and tell you I love that about you.
Right.
It pissed me off that day. I was watching The Real House of OC and Beverly Hills, and the girl said, we're going to put this on. This is my ghetto chain. This is ghetto. My ghetto voice. My ghetto. What are you trying to say? What do you mean by ghetto voice? Now I look ghetto. Now I look, Shines of Sunset. They say all types of little underhanded racial things, especially when the lady Asa was on there, who was dating Michael Jackson, Jermaine Jackson's son, and had the baby by him. And like the lady named her dog Latoya. You know, yes, girl, she named her dog Latoya on there. So those are little things that I did not like. And I have wrote to Andy, and I have actually commented. Andy always responds with, he always has some little smart ass response. And especially I was done when Kim went on that rant page at that reunion and she said, I'm the only white lady out there with all those women. You know, who's going to come and sit with all of them? That's racism. I want people to understand that's racism. That's not colorism. That's racism.
It is. I want to welcome to the panel, Lady T. And I invited you, Lady T, on the panel because it was going to be 4 of us anyway. And so I know that you have a Caribbean background. Am I correct? I don't want to misspeak.
You are misspeaking, but the funny part about it is I get that often.
Okay, all right, so maybe that's what I thought. All right, I apologize.
No one ever. No, I'm here. I'm from here. No one ever said that I'm from here, though.
Okay, no, it's not okay. My bad. Then I apologize. Yeah. I apologize. But I did invite Lady T to the panel. I want to say this, and then I'm gonna come to you, Lady T, and let you introduce yourself and sort of give your 2 cents, and then we'll move on to the next topic. Going back to what you were saying, Simone, about the Real Housewives. I do review the other Real Housewives, not just Atlanta or Potomac. And I don't know if you saw my review this week for Real Housewives of Dallas. Now, there was a situation on the Real Housewives of Dallas, and I said it in my review where Leanne made a lot of comments. One of the other characters, Carrie, not characters, the ladies, she's Mexican. And Leanne made a lot of comments about her Mexican this and her Mexican that, and maybe she couldn't understand me because I didn't say it in Mexican. And she made a lot of comments, and I said it in my review. I said, now I want to see if the same people who was coming after me about OG and Evelyn, and them same people that was coming after me about Eva on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, I want to see if they got that same energy and they go after Leanne for making those comments about the Mexican. So I'm gonna just leave that there. I ain't seen nothing yet, but I'm gonna leave that.
Well, I belong to a group of Real Housewives of Dallas, and a lot of people were pissed off behind those comments. A lot of people
on Facebook.
Yeah.
Give me the information because I would love to.
Okay, I'll send it to you after the live. I joined this group, and the ladies were saying it was a lot of people. You had Black, Caucasian, Latino, all was saying how she was out of order for those comments. And I made a comment on it. I said that is because Andy allows this crap to go on his platform. And I had so many likes, and people were saying, I agree with you 100%, Simone, of all races. And one lady said to me, she said, but let you have said something about gay, Andy would have a fit. And he would. And that's the honest to God truth.
Yeah.
I am so sick of Bravo getting away with these little bitty BS and little comments that's going on his, and Bravo Andy. Like, we love you, Andy. Andy is dirty.
Yeah. Well, we know Andy.
I'm sorry, my daughter called. It's
okay. We know Andy got some shit with him. I want to welcome everybody into the chat. I want to thank everybody.
What did she do to my phone when she called?
Oh, well, you still here. I can still hear you. You
can hear me?
I can hear you. You still here?
Okay.
Yeah. So, Lady T, you could go ahead and introduce yourself, and then go ahead and just give us your 2 cents on your idea of colorism. We kind of went over the definition already, and we were kind of shocked at what the definition based on Google was. But go ahead and introduce.
Would you mind? I want to speak. I just came in. Would you mind just going over the Google definition of
I sure can. I'll read it again. I'll read it for you again. It says, now this is, all I did was put in Google colorism defined. So this is what popped up. It said, prejudice or discrimination against individuals with a dark skin tone, typically among people of the same ethnic or racial group. And so we were sort of thrown off by, okay, now she is gone. She'll come back. We were sort of thrown off a little bit by the fact that it insinuated that you can only, it's only towards the darker complexion, and that if you're light skinned, you can't be a victim of colorism, and that it's within a race. I agree. I agree.
That's not true, just based on what we've heard on these YouTube streets in regards to Ask April.
Right.
Absolutely. April is not even the same makeup as Barack, but let's say someone like Hallie, who's a little browner in skin tone, who appears more of African descent than April does, but they're both biracial, and then there's the Mariah Careys of this world, who we like to claim as our own, but there's, it depends on how light you are, whether or not you kind of have to deal with those dynamics. But as someone who is whose complexion is debatable, because oftentimes I'm thrown into the dark skin conversation, and then sometimes people want to put me into the, oh, well, you're cinnamon, or you're I can't
don't they come up with some interesting, they come up with some real colorful names, don't they?
Yeah, sometimes I'm cinnamon. I'm just, okay. I've always just enjoyed my skin color. But in terms of OG, I'm gonna keep it a buck. Someone with brown skin and a round pug nose and big lips, I don't think OG is attractive. And I think that it wasn't about colorism, it was about uglyism. With all due respect, I don't think that they found that woman attractive, and they treated her that way because they didn't like the way she looked. Because truth be told, her and Jennifer are not that far off in skin tone, and they don't give Jennifer that sort of reaction. And if you look at the Real Housewives of Atlanta, that's a pretty brown cast. When you consider what television looks like, the majority of those women, with the exception of Eva.
And I feel like they talk about each other. We're about to get on Eva in a minute. But I feel like they talk about each other, because when they do talk about Jennifer, they talk about her being a giraffe and having a long neck. Like, I feel like they do what kids do. Kids will find the one thing you are the most subconscious about, and they will find a way to exploit it. And that's why, as adults, certain things don't bother us anymore, because we heard it all our lives as a kid. I say all the time, when he's calling me fat doesn't bother me. I've been called fat my whole life. I don't care. There's no way you can spin fat at this point that's gonna hurt my feelings. I've been wearing glasses since I was 4 years old. I was born cross-eyed. I can show you some pictures and you'll be like, God damn, what's going on with your eye? So I'm you know what I'm saying? I've worn glasses my whole life. So even with that, there's nothing you can say. 4-eyed, there's nothing you can say. So as adults, I feel like that's what these women do. They are catty children who go after low-hanging fruit and just go after you know what I'm saying? And so that's for me. That's why I said for me, if they did highlight quote unquote her African features, it's because she is African and they were just being insulting. But I don't think they made a decision that said, we don't want this African up here and this African. Because
she looked like
but you all are leaving out the important facts. On her Instagram, after she insulted her, she called her a monkey. So she used the picture of her as a monkey. That's when you start factoring in colorism. That's not uglyism. When you call a person
everybody was doing that before. Everybody was raccoon. And that woman, look, I'm not gonna say, but you know what I mean. Everybody. Right. There's people who look like a bird. There's people who look like my dark circles make me look like a raccoon, and she looks like in that family. Come on now, please. I'm sorry.
I don't think I would never say somebody black looks like an ape or a gorilla. I'm sorry, that's not.
If you don't see
I don't think she looks like a gorilla or an ape. Now I could go with she's not attractive, but to go and put her in the animal category, no.
It was definitely in poor taste. It was wrong and it was in poor taste. And I'm not here to defend Evelyn at all. I think Evelyn is nasty. I think Evelyn is disrespectful.
And she has a history of doing this to dark-skinned people.
See,
so this is where the issue comes in.
With Jennifer at one point, though?
Evelyn is a mean girl. She does it to everybody. Evelyn is a mean
I agree with that. I agree with that.
I understand why it's like, well, she does it to dark skin. She does it to everybody.
I can't say that though. And watching the show, most of her victims are dark skinned. So she does have this complex in my eyes. Now, like I said, we can agree to disagree. Just like she said to call a monkey. I would never call anyone black a monkey. I don't give a damn if they look like Curious George's baby sister. I would never ever.
What about the fact that she married a dark skinned man? That doesn't mean anything.
You said what?
The fact that she married a dark-skinned man, that doesn't mean
many colorist women in history have married dark-skinned men. They love black king, but they don't respect black women. And that's another. I was on a panel for this. That is absolutely correct. You have a lot of women who date black men who don't like black women. And then you have the black men who don't like black women, who allow their white women to disrespect black women. So this can be a whole, like you said, we definitely need a part 2 because this can go in a whole bunch of different areas.
In regards to Evelyn, with all due respect, coming from New York and coming from uptown New York, Evelyn's issue doesn't have anything to do with colorism. It has something to do with racism. She has issues with black people, period.
I agree with that too. I agree with you too.
It doesn't matter.
I would go with that before I would. Yeah, I would go with that. Yeah.
You understand?
I'll go with that, ladies. I agree with you, huh?
You know, so I don't think in regards to OG, I don't think it has anything to, as far as the entire cast, I think they just did not find her attractive. Because if it was Lupita, not necessarily Lupita Nyong'o, but someone who looked like Lupita Nyong'o, no one would say anything about the way that this woman looked. You understand?
Unless you're Gilbert Arenas, because Gilbert Arenas called her ugly and tagged her and did all types of stuff.
And then that is colorism. But
Gilbert Arenas is a troll.
One of those cases.
Gilbert Arenas is a troll. All right, let me throw another one out there because I know we could do this all day.
Yes, Patty Duke, that's exactly my point. Yes.
So what about Eva? She got flack last week because she referred to Nene and I guess it was Portia, I'm not sure who else, as nappy heads. And
she called Kenya, Nene, and the other ladies except for Cynthia
as nappy heads. Now, Eva is black. Okay, there's no Afro Latina. There's no Eva is black. She got a black mama and a black daddy. Why were people so offended at her saying nappy heads? Why?
Can I ask this? Now, I could have sworn when she was on America's Next Top Model, she said she was mixed. I could have sworn that's what she was saying.
Let me say this. I remember her on America's Next Top Model because that's when I first fell in love with her.
Me too.
Let me say this. She may be mixed. I know her mama is black, and we saw her father at the wedding because remember her dad had a stroke or something like that. I'm pretty certain both of her parents are black. Maybe she has a grandparent that's white. She clearly has something mixed. I mean, let's be clear. But I let me just, so if anybody in the chat want to correct me, y'all go ahead and correct me. I
see a little bit of colorism when it comes to Eva. I'm not gonna even
I don't see. I think when she played that word on black and she said black with a Q, I don't honestly, in my heart, I don't, and I'm a dark-skinned woman, proud of it. I honestly don't think that she was trying to be colorist when she said that.
I just don't agree. Me either.
I think that was a play of words.
If you go back and look at my review, I didn't get it then. I thought she was just
no, I didn't receive it then. I'm talking about the last comment right here. When people start going into that nappy thing, they have issues. It's like a telltale, like that's just scratching the surface. That's the top of the iceberg. When you're getting into that nappy stuff, because it's like that means that you have some sort of a narrative within yourself. Because if you got nappy, you doggone sure got black.
Yeah, because I just feel like again, and I'm gonna come to you, Abby. Now, Abby, you ready now, baby? We got the baby good. All right, I'm gonna come to you next, babe. So I feel like now I understand that Eva has a different texture of hair. And I think that's where the criticism came from because people were like, well, she can't be calling them nappy heads when her hair is that. And again, I say, to me, that's that reverse colorism. So because she's a lighter complexion and because her hair doesn't have the same texture, she can't criticize another black woman. Now, if Nene had called them nappy heads, wouldn't nobody have said anything. But because Eva has a different, that's how I took it. Because Eva has a different texture. Again, these women are catty and they attack what we know that people are subconscious about when they start insulting each other. And so all them women wear wigs, all those women wear weaves. And, because Eva has even made comments about the fact that she doesn't, that she can, we know she wears wigs and stuff, but how she doesn't have to. So I did not take it as, when she said it, it didn't hit me any kind of way until I heard people criticizing it the next day. Abby, I'm gonna throw it to you, and then because I want you to, I know you've been you on double duty over there, y'all. We're gonna be patient with Abby because she on double duty over there today. But go ahead, Abs.
Okay, so in regards to the nappy headed comment, I don't think that was necessarily colorist on behalf of Eva. She's seen these women backstage before they really get put on their head. And if she's seen some naps and you nappy headed, then that's just what it is. Because normally when you are looking for something to read someone on, it's something that you've seen on them. So, of course, somebody's always calling me fat or something like that because that's the first thing you see. That's the first thing that you can grab onto when you see me. Now, she's seen these women in different various stages of get readiness in the backstage area or whatever as they've been doing all this filming. I'm sure she's seen a nap or two in them kitchens in the back of them heads. So that's what she called it, nappy headed. It can be used in a colorist way, but I don't think that's what this was necessarily in regards to Eva.
I just think that those terms are coupled. Black and nappy, I think is a sentiment, like it's like coupled together. I just have that. I just do. I mean, it's just in recent years that people have been separating the two, but usually you get both bang bang. I think she might have also had enough sense, if she was wanting to roll off the tongue or whatever, and that, you black nappy headed, she knew not to say that because of her last season. But I don't know. I don't know too many people who use the term nappy that don't have black in their lexicon. I just don't.
I personally was going to say this. I think she used nappy headed as a way to insult them and as the ultimate insult personally. Me, you can ask Nika, my hair, I'm dark skinned, my hair comes halfway down my back. I can all see the picture of me. And people ask me, do you wear weave? Is it? No, it's my hair. So a lot of times people don't think, because I feel like for her to say that Kenya hair is beautiful, Kenya hair is prettier than hers. If you just want to break down and say hair. So do I think that she was honestly trying to be colorist at that moment? No, I think once she was pregnant,
Kenya
she wanted to get the bad dig in.
For her to deem it as nappy.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Simone. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think that at that point, she was pregnant, she was irritated, and she was trying to get that dig in. And that dig was, if I call him nappy-headed, I just got to dig in at him. And that's all. I don't think that the only problem I had with what she said was when she kept going on and on, she doesn't know Kenya, real eye color. I live in Detroit. I'm from Detroit. I actually went to the high school that Kenya went to for 2 years. She came back as an alumni. Kenya Moore eyes is that color. Always have been. Even her yearbook picture.
Yeah, but I think with black people, we automatically assume when we see somebody that has eye color that is not
their eyes, right?
I mean, again, I think that's low hanging fruit. That's an insult that you're gonna always get. Because I know when Justin Jay went after Todrick Hall, he insulted him and he threw that in there about him wearing contacts, and Todrick Hall was like, "These are my eyes." Like this is. So I think that's the assumption that people always make. And I'm not defending Eva.
I know you're not, but what I was trying to say was Eva comment went wrong, and why everybody wants to now nitpick every little thing that she said, because she said that she doesn't know Kenya's middle. Her comment was meant to be mean. Let's just break it down. I don't know Kenya's middle name. Then she turned around and said she needed to worry about Dennis with the wig on. That's what set everyone off when she said that about that woman's baby, Dennis with a wig. And so now everything that she said, we're going to attack the whole statement now.
What? How is that? Wait a minute. Stop. How was that about the baby? I missed something.
When they were arguing, when she was talking to Cynthia, she said she needs to, her cesarean, her C-section hasn't even healed yet. What she needs to do is worry about Dennis with the wig.
What that got to do with the baby? I'm just missing it.
That's what insulted and pissed a lot of people off. She felt like even the Brat commented on this on their show, Dish Nation, that she talked about PJ when she called the baby Dennis with the wig. Now some people felt like she didn't say anything wrong, but the baby like Dennis.
She was talking about the baby.
Right.
Oh, okay. I missed it.
That's okay. No, what I'm saying is the whole comment itself was nasty. So now, because the comment was nasty, we're going to sit here and dissect every little thing that she has said.
Why was the comment nasty if she looks like her father?
I personally didn't find the comment that mean. The baby does look like her father.
I mean, I've done that with people before. When I see babies and the daddy look like the daddy spit them out, I've said stuff like that. I mean, and I don't think I wasn't. Now again, let's be clear. We know Eva was being mean. Let's not even.
Exactly.
Again, and it goes back to the next thing we're going to talk on in a minute. It's a difference between being insulting, being rude, being nasty, being disrespectful, and then always making it about race. I don't think that because somebody is light-skinned and makes a negative comment about somebody dark-skinned that it makes them a colorist, and vice versa. Just like if I see if a white person doesn't like me for whatever reason, it doesn't mean they're racist. It just means they don't like me.
Well, really, I get you on that, but it's kind of like I get the same sense that I got when I was watching Devolving Culture on Brother Jay's channel.
Okay, I don't watch him, but go ahead.
He was saying little things that you had to say, wait, hold on. And you knew that there was some undercurrent there. My thing is this, the same way, okay, yes, somebody may look like a monkey. I would never say, well, I'm kind of low-key said it this day, today.
Yeah,
But, it was part of the conversation, but that would not be a jab for me. Like you monkey, or you will never hear nappy come out of my mouth, because nappy and dark skin and all of those things, I don't have those issues. There's not this underlying self-hate. So when you hear
nappy come out my mouth, you might hear it come out.
What, I'm gonna say when I'm mad. Let me tell you, when I'm mad, I talk about your mama, your daddy, your grandpappy, and everybody else. I'm not holding no hostages when I'm mad.
You a dark skin, something, because that's what I mean.
Exactly, because I'm mad.
You know, I don't, because like I said,
we're talking about Nene, Kenya, and whoever. Right. You mean to tell me you didn't have no other reads?
Well, I'm saying that what I think she did was, it was a mean girl moment. She was
absolutely mean girl. She
was being nasty, and now because now they're gonna pick apart every little thing that woman said. If that woman, I thought she was mixed. I remember on there, I could have sworn she said she was mixed, but I feel like that's a black woman. Nappy head is something that comes out. Do I think she could use other words? Yes, I do.
It's not in my lexicon.
See me, I don't care about lexicon. I don't care about none of that. When I'm beefing with you, like I told you, anybody can get it. Your mama, your daddy, your grandma, your friend. Only person I will not talk about, and I'm gonna be honest, are kids. Now that's because I'm a mom. I don't talk about kids. And if they bad as hell and they want to come start static, they can get it too.
But again, being a bad reader because you can't insult people easily. Again, it doesn't mean that you're racist. It just means that you're not good at it. I mean,
I think there's a sign of self-hate. There's some sort of self-hate there. Whether we want to admit it or not, it's there.
I don't think saying nappy head is just to me, I felt that people overblew it. I believe because she's light-skinned with the eyes that she has and the texture hair that she has, people sat there and ran with that narrative. I do not think the lady was being racist. I do not think so. Everything she says on the show, she has to tippy-toe around what she says, but they can say whatever they want to her, but she has to tippy-toe around what she says to them. All is fair in love and war, period. And that's it. She doesn't. She shouldn't have to watch what she say to them. Nene has called them names to me 10 times worse than nappy headed.
Yeah. Pick that up. And if they were to say to her, "You old curly headed," blah blah blah.
I'm sorry.
Like, why would it? So, okay. And again, y'all know we could do this all day, so I don't want to dwell. Lamone did bring up a good issue. And I actually was going to start here, but we just sort of jumped into the conversation and started moving. Lamone brought up the issue of the history of this, how colorism goes way back to even, we can even go back to the tribes in Africa. We definitely can go back to the slave plantations with, we all know the light skin, dark skin narrative of, who worked in the house, who worked in the fields. We all know we can bring it forward. We know about the black elite, how, the light skin, black elite, the brown paper bag. We know about, somebody said last night, bring up the Divine Nine. I'm not going to speak on the Divine Nine, but we know the stereotypes of who was let in sororities and who wasn't, and which sororities allowed people. So we know that this is not new in our community. The comments in the chat are very valid when they're talking about how in this world, everybody is just so sensitive in 2019. And I agree.
Yes.
That is where my issue comes in, because again, I am not excusing any of these people's behavior. I'm not saying that they were right for what they said. I'm not saying that, because what I'm saying is that they're insulting people and that they are the Divine Nine, the historical black colleges, Alpha Kappa, Alpha Delta Sigma Theta, so forth and so on. So I want to be clear that I'm not excusing anybody's behavior. I just think that we are so quick to label it something as serious and as divisive as colorism. Now, to say that somebody in the chat said that we all have a level of self-hate, that may be valid. We may. There may be something that we look in the mirror and that we don't like about ourselves or what have you. That may very well be the case. But again, I just feel like we are so quick to want to write people up and want to move and and label everything and put everything in this cute little box. You know what I'm saying? And
I get that, but see, this is the thing. I sat here and was able to see objectively in regards to OG, you understand? Right. So it's not like I'm just, just saying it. I feel like it's coming from somewhere with Eva. Like I feel like if we may have to go back to America's what's the name of that show?
America's Top Model.
America's Top Model, and see what she may have said about Yaya and her brown skin and her kinky hair.
Now, you know what? That's an interesting point. If for those of you who watched that season of America's Next Top Model, if that season were to run in 2019, do you know the narrative that would be spun? And do you know how huge, because the narrative was there. And I don't disagree, especially when we talk about modeling and we talk about the prejudices that exist in modeling, especially when we start talking about Black models. I absolutely agree that Eva and Yaya were pitted against each other. And I believe, and I don't remember everything that Eva said. Eva was a lot nastier back then than she is now. She's calmed down a lot. But and I think that's the other thing too, for those of us who knew Eva on America's Next Top Model, nothing she says is going to shock me. Because, she was ready to fight and everything else on that show. She was nasty. So I hear what you're saying, Lady T, and I'm not directing anything, at you, because again, I'm
not receiving it like that at all.
Okay, that's good.
Because I don't want her to feel like her opinion is not valid. I agree with you saying, like,
this is a conversation. It's not even a debate. It's a conversation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm receiving it well.
Okay, good. Because again, I purposely wanted to bring people on who I knew were going to have a difference of opinion, because again, it would be boring if we all agreed on everything, because what would be the purpose, right? So I want to throw something, and again, we're going to definitely have to do a part 2, because I don't want to be on here too long, but I also know that we're only scratching the surface. Lamone, on part 2, we're going to get into the history, because I would like to do a little more research and be a little better prepared to bring forth the history. But we know that there has been, colorism has existed in the Black community. Like I said, we know going back to the tribes of Africa. And definitely
a question, really, B.
Sure.
It's somewhat personal. But do you think that your opinion of what Eva did is skewed because as a light-skinned woman, you don't have the same perception, so you may want to be in defense of, of that? Like, you want people to understand that, not all light-skinned people have these issues or these you know what I'm trying to say. I can't think of it.
Well, I know you didn't catch the beginning. And in the beginning, I did sort of speak on that, my issue as a perceived light-skinned person. Because I don't like to be described as that, but as a perceived light-skinned person, that is an issue.
All light-skinned people don't want to say they light-skinned. What is that about?
When I think of light-skinned, I think of people who could pass for white light-skinned. Like I can't pass for white. So that's what I think of. I've had, like, my grandmother could pass for white. You know what I mean? Like, I think of her. If you're from the DC area, I'm not going to tell you my last name, but I'm part of, when people hear my last name, they automatically ask me certain questions, because my family, it was known that we intermarried to keep the color light. Okay. So that is the legacy of my, my ancestors, I should say. And so even after slavery, they married cousins and stuff like that to keep the so when I look at my grandmother, that's who I'm talking about. People like that can pass. But anyway, and I'm the lightest out of my brothers and sisters. So maybe there is a complex there for me. I can honestly say maybe.
No, I'm not saying that there's a complex. I'm saying, it's like as if you're speaking in defense of light-skinned people, because Eva could very well just have a different perspective. You know what I mean? That we,
yeah. I know, because I guess I am sensitive because I've been accused of it, and I that wasn't where I came from. So I could be a little sensitive on the other end to think that, because there may be some people who definitely are colorists. There may be some people, and maybe I'm defending people who do have a color issue, but I know, and maybe it is because of my own personal, poor Abby, and maybe because it is because of my background, but I know that everything isn't colorist. Sometimes it's just, you just don't like people, but to reduce it to color, and you're right. That's a valid, That is a valid observation, and I receive it. I receive it.
Well, can I say this real quick? I'm going to tell a brief story what happened to me. This is I'm me and my sister are both adults. My mother was executive at AT&T. She ran a whole team. My sister was on her team. I worked at another company at the time. My mother was actually her boss. So they had a cabaret at her team. And my sister had me go to the cabaret. Well, do you know when I went to the cabaret, one guy came to the party. I'll never forget his name is Martell with his raggedy behind. And he had all these keloids on his face too. He had the nerve to say to me, my sister introduced me. She said, hi, this is my sister Simone. He stops everything. I mean, it seemed like the whole damn place just got silent when he said, oh my God, your sister, what? I've seen the picture of your baby brother and I've seen your dad. And this is your sister. This ain't Miss Moore's baby. This is the milkman's baby. This is what he said to me. So I'm sitting there.
I've been said the same thing. They used to tell me I was adopted.
And I was 20. Now just imagine this. I'm 24 years old when this happened. I'm sitting there. It's a bottle of Moet sitting in front of me. I'm steaming. I'm steaming. I'm hot that this man has said this to me. My sister was dancing, girl. She out there cha-cha sliding and stuff. So when she come back to the table, she said, well, what's wrong? I said, I'm ready to go. She said, well, why are you ready to go? I said, look, I'm ready to go before I catch a case. We out here with these good white folks, because we was in the good suburbs then. I said, I'm not trying to go to jail tonight. Let's go. My sister said, well, what the hell happened? So I explained to her what happened. She instantly changed. And she told him, she went up to him and she said, Martell, you have a lot of damn nerve to insult my mother, first of all, because you calling my mother, your boss, a hoe. Basically.
Whoa, right.
And so this is what I was telling my sister, the part that really pissed me off. You disrespected my mother, first of all. Then second of all, my sister said, you don't know her, my sister, well enough. I was just joking with her. She said she didn't take that as a joke. And you didn't know her well enough to joke with her like that. So then after that had happened, he came and he apologized to me. I told him to get out of my face. I don't want his apology. And I think for the rest of the evening, he needs to stay away from me. I mean, he tried to apologize to me every 10 minutes because now he done realized he done put his foot in his mouth. My mama's his boss. So I get home. The next day I tell my mother, it's a Sunday, what happened? Monday morning, my mother pulls him in the office and told him, what you said was very disrespectful. She said, I'm not going to fire you because you're a good worker. But she said at the same time, you not only insulted me by calling me a whore, you insulted my daughter. She said, and that's the point. You did not know my daughter well enough to say those jokes. Miss Moore, I swear I didn't know your daughter would take it that way. I want to apologize to her. I bought her a gift. Girl, he had went and bought me a gift card and everything else.
You better have. He was scared.
Girl, but his child was on the line because my mama was hot. So my thing is for you to sit there and just come to somebody and say, people have the balls to come and say anything to you. They don't think about your feelings. They don't think about, could this hurt you or anything. And that's why I say about colorism, I've experienced a lot. And that was, I never forget that story because I was so angry. Now you're supposed to be partying and dancing. I was so angry. I sat there and held a whole bottle of Moet the whole night. Because
I thought you was going to say you hit him in the head with the bottle. When you
I wanted to hit him in the head with that bottle. I wanted to hit him.
Where we going?
But I'm saying that's how Black people were so desensitized to some of the things that we say to people that he didn't think that was an insult. He thought it was a joke to say to me.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say because I've been told that my whole life, and even my brothers and sisters, we would joke with each other about it. You were found on the doorstep. You were adopted. You belong to the mailman, whatever. And so it never hit me quite that way because I guess we were joning on each other and it didn't bother me. But I have been told those things. Now I'm gonna give you my story of colorism, and then we're gonna talk about one last topic, and we're gonna So here was my experience with colorism. It was my junior year in high school. all my first 3 years in high school, I just knew what college I was going to. You could not tell me anything different. That's all I was. My mind was set that I was going to this school. Even my counselor was like, "What's your backup plan?" I said, "I don't have a backup plan because that is the school that I'm going to, and that is it. I'm not going to call the school because I don't want the school to get a bad reflection off of this one example. But it's a HBCU, and myself and one of my good friends from high school at the time, we went to go visit. Now, mind you, this girl, she had better grades than me. Her mother took us. It was her mother that invited me on this trip. So it wasn't my trip. Her mother invited me to come. Like I said, she was probably a better candidate, as far as be honest, to be blunt about it. She was, National Honor Society, and she was all these things. Now, I was decent in high school, but I damn sure wasn't that. And we got down there, and you know how when you go for a college tour, they have the little, they have the people that escort you around and they show you all the good stuff and everything like that. And so we had gone through the rigmarole, went through the campus tour and ate in the cafeteria and all that other good stuff. So towards the end of the night, towards the end of the tour, one of the girls who was giving us the tour said, where you guys staying? And we told them what hotel we were staying in or whatever. And they said, well, give us your number. Because it's a party tonight and we want to invite you to the party. I said, cool, I'm ready to go. I was like, oh shit, going to a college party. Okay. And later on that night, they called me. Went to the hotel. I ain't have a cell phone then. They called to the hotel. And I guess they did not realize that me and, I'm not going to call her name, but my friend, we were together. Like they knew we were together, but I don't think they realized we were staying together and everything. And so, my pronoun was we, us. And they were like, who's we? Like, who you with? And I said, my friend M. I'll just say M. What was with me on the tour? And they said, oh, no, she can't come.
Really?
She can't come. I was like, what's the problem? Because I'm thinking, what she do to piss them off, right? And they said, well, she might feel a little uncomfortable. I said, well, why would she feel uncomfortable? What's the problem? I'm trying to, because I'm still not understanding what their issue is. So she's going to probably be the only dark-skinned one there. And she was dark-skinned. She was a dark-skinned girl. And I said, what? Like, it really, y'all, I'm telling you, it totally threw me. I had never been slapped in the face with it like that before. I had heard of things, but it's sort of like when you hear about segregation and then you get faced with it. I had heard about colorism and the brown paper bag test and all of that, but I had never had that experience. And so when they told me that, I said, okay, well, I'm not coming because I'm with her. Like, if she can't come, I can't come. And honestly, I came back home and it totally changed my opinion about that school. And I ended up not even going to that. I didn't even apply.
I didn't want to either.
Yeah, I didn't even apply at that point. And so so that's my example and that's my experience. And so, well, that's the first time I experienced it. And so I guess, like I said, maybe I do have a complex with the whole being called light skin thing or whatever, because it really bothers me. I don't like being called light skin. I don't like being described as light skin. I don't like being called light skin. I really
I mean, I don't know. My sister is your complexion, really, B. And she's your complexion with hazel eyes. But she and I look exactly alike. Like, we have the same features, we have the same parents and everything. And there's always a point in time when, people get close with me that they feel they do with. I'm sorry, I don't even know who I'm on the other who I'm on the panel with. Who's the other lady here with us?
Simone. It's a Simone Moore and Abby Reviews. Where did our names go? Hold on, what I do? Hold on, I must have done something to get rid of everybody's name. Y'all go ahead. I'll figure out what I did over here.
So, it's always a point in time where I have to go through what Simone went through, where someone will ask me if me and my sister have the same father. And it's like, you want to...
I've dealt with that too, Lady T. My parents have been married now 47 years.
Right.
All of them have
my mother.
Same mom and daddy. And I'm always the one who's the milkman's baby. I'm the owl. Now, as we get older, we are starting, when you can look past color, you can see that we favor.
But
I favor my siblings.
I'm curious what my sister's experience has been as a light-skinned person because we don't have this conversation at all.
See, me and my sister do. So I've always had this conversation with my little sister, and my sister wanted to be dark skinned because she used to feel so bad for me, and that's how tight me and my sister are. We're 2 years apart, but she would say, "I feel so bad. People say those things to you. I just want to be dark skinned. I think you're prettier than me." She used to always try to do things to boost me up and make me feel good, and that's strange to say the baby sister comforting the big sister. But my sister knew that I would be the one who would, everything would happen amongst family. My aunt would come over my house. She would come get my sister and my other brother, the 2 lighter ones. She never would take me. And you know what she would say? "Oh, Simone didn't want to come." My mom said, "Well, did you ever ask her?" Because she said you didn't ask her, did she want to come? She said, "Oh, I just assumed she didn't come. When I pulled up, she didn't come to the car." No, you didn't ask me to come. So these are things I've always dealt with. And now that I'm older, I'm able to handle that. And then even with my own children, I call my kids beige, 2 beige buds. But my kids are actually light brown. I say light brown. Wow. And my baby is chocolate. That's my chocolate baby. And even I noticed the difference when I had them. When I had my 2 older kids, people will be, "Oh, they are so beautiful. They're so this." These are Black people. They're so beautiful. Wow. I had my baby. She looked like a little Indian. Her hair is straight. My daughter now, her hair touches her butt. I mean, she's a beautiful little girl. Everybody would take her. You will have some Black people that will say she's beautiful, but I got more compliments from white people than I ever did from Black people on my baby. I remember I was at IHOP one day, and I was trying to eat my breakfast, and she was crying, and my husband was eating his breakfast, and this white lady came to me and she said, "I just miss having a baby this small. Do you mind?" We were kind of sitting next to each other. "Do you mind I hold your baby while you eat?" Now, the part of me, the nervous mother in me was like, "I don't trust this white lady," but I saw she was coming from a good place. And she just held my baby and then paid for our food afterwards. So when I say certain, I've caught more flack from Black people than I've ever caught from white people. And I'm gonna tell you, my own family, it's my family too. They aren't any better. My grandfather really was a colorist, and I see that as I get older. When I was younger, I just thought that he was just being him, but he really favored my sister over me.
Abby, go ahead and jump in, baby. Again, I know you double duty over there, baby, but go on and jump in.
The only time that I have experienced colorism was only in regards to my kids. Like I said, I had 3 light-skinned babies and 1 chocolate baby. And even down to when I had my youngest child, and my chocolate baby, they're both by my ex-husband. Like, people from his family was like, "Are we sure?" Because he came out light bright.
No.
Like, "Are you sure? Are we sure that's his baby?"
Want to get off on your own, girl.
Listen. Because our first child came out chocolate like her daddy, but our son came out light skinned. He was, like I said, he was damn near white, but he had all of his father's features. And I would get questions. And there would be questions like, "Are we getting a DNA test for this one? Because he a little too light skinned to belong to." That's not how genetics. That's not how that works.
It's not how this works.
That's not how any of this works. Now, I do have there's a mother at my church. Every time I'm at church and she sees me and she speaks to me, the one thing that she says to me every single time she sees me, "I love the color of your skin."
Really? And I have those people too.
Right. I'm like, and I don't even know how to
respond to that.
What about you pretty for a dark skinned girl? Have you ever had you pretty for a dark skinned girl or a brown skinned girl?
Yeah.
That is the most annoying, underhanded, insulting comment I've ever heard. That, and you have beautiful eyes and you looking at my double D's. So those That's what I take it as.
That's a whole nother. That's a
no.
whole
I'm
nother
saying that's the insult I take it as. You telling me I got pretty eyes, but you looking at my double D's. That's what I take is you pretty as a dark skin girl.
Right.
They are. Whatever.
Okay, so the last topic, and Deshaun, thank you. Welcome to the room, Deshaun. Everybody else who's coming, BB Nice. I'm gonna get you up here next time when we do part 2, baby. I think you would be a great addition to the panel.
That's Deshaun. Absolutely.
Deshaun, but that's actually going to be our next topic. So Deshaun, thanks for taking us there. Our last topic for today, and like I said, we'll definitely have to do a part 2, probably a part 3, part 4. But we brought up, let's talk about the colorism when it comes to Black men. Mm-hmm. I'll use the example of Chris Brown. Mm-hmm. Chris Brown, it has been alleged that Chris Brown does not want dark-skinned women in his VIP. Mm-hmm. That is allegedly.
You can look at his videos.
Well, we can look at a lot of video vixens of light skin. But the question again is, what's the difference between preference? Because I prefer a certain type of man. Does that make me a colorist, or is that just what I'm attracted to and that's my preference? You see what I'm saying? So if he prefers a certain type of woman, is it wrong that he prefers a certain type of woman, or is it a colorist?
A preference is I like strawberry ice cream, but if there's I also enjoy caramel cone. You understand what I mean? Like there's a preference. That means that you're not totally excluding an entire set of people if you prefer something.
Shay, that's a whole nother panel for a whole nother. I'm sorry, Lady T, but you're right. That whole "you pretty for a big girl" one, that one get me too.
Oh yes.
Oh, wow,
I heard that one.
I didn't even make that connection, but yeah, that has to be a.
But that'll be a whole. We're gonna have a whole conversation about that one, girl.
I'm gonna say a preference, and I'm gonna give myself, for example, in the '90s when I used to be in love with Christopher Williams, and now I'm sorry. I used to be in love with them. Now, the men I used to like at that time, now we're talking about when I'm a teenager though, but at that time I just thought was fine. I used to go to school with a guy named Christopher Williams who kind of looked like Christopher Williams. Okay. And I was in love with him. I mean, that was my preference. I thought he was fine as hell. But I never ever insulted any dark-skinned men either, because I thought Big Daddy Kane was fine.
Right, but fine is fine.
Like, I used to like Eric B and Rakim. I used to be in love with Rakim. I never ever put down, well, Rakim is ugly because he's darker than Christopher Williams. My preference is I like men. I don't care. I don't. Now that I'm older, I just like men. I don't care if it's light, dark. You can't be too fat. I can't be too skinny. That's my preference. I don't want somebody that's big pun size, but I can deal with me a nice little hefty, thick man that got a little belly I can rub. I done got older, so it changes. So when you say preference, that's what I always use as a preference. I never ever discriminated. Like I said, and it used to be this rapper.
Attractive is your preference.
Huh?
I said attractive is your preference.
Yeah, my preference is
but that's in the eye of the beholder. That's in the eye of the beholder if somebody finds attractive.
I didn't care if you was light skinned, dark skinned, whatever. As long as you was fine, I liked it.
It's been my experience.
So how you feel about it, Abby? Preference versus colorism, and then I'm gonna come to you, Lady T.
Okay, no problem.
I agree with a previous panelist. I have never had. I just needed you to be taller than me. And I'm 5'4", so I'm not asking for much.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So,
Ooh, 5. Okay.
But you gotta say I'm 5'4" too, Abby. Don't feel no way.
I'm about to say I'm 5'2". So hello, I'm 2 inches shorter than y'all. So
you my mom type.
Right. So
I pictured you as tall, Really B.
Child, no, and I'm taller than my grandmother. My grandmother was 5 feet, child.
Yeah, shorties unite. Listen,
short people unite. Yes. Oh,
I'm 5'8.5". So
okay.
You see the wind come out of the sails? Damn.
Yeah, I'm 5'8.5", and I have that problem with men where come and talk to you, and they come into your chin.
Oh,
they come to your chest area. Now that I got older, I just feel like men have shrunk or something because I can't never find someone that's that much taller than me to talk to anymore. So I've kind of lowered my standards a little bit. He don't have to be tall at this point. All he got to do is be 5'9" at this point. A half an inch taller than me.
Yeah. Just taller than I want to be able to. Can I just do? That's all. I just want to be able to tilt my head up.
Well, like I said, for me, it ain't hard. It ain't hard. But you know what? I had a guy. This is a whole nother conversation. I had a guy try, and I tried, y'all. He was shorter than me, and I tried. I couldn't make it work. When his feet was dangling in the, I couldn't do it.
We're done. No, I'm not doing this with you, sir.
I'm sorry, y'all. That's a whole nother conversation. Okay.
Feet was dangling. Father God, fix it. Now, yeah, I've never. My husband was chocolate. My son's father was almost the same complexion as me. I have dated light. I have dated white. I mean, again, like I don't really have a preference in regards to skin tone. I just need you to be taller than me, and you have to be at least 7 inches to ride this ride. That's it. That's all I got.
You've been hanging out with El Teddy too long. You've been hanging out with El Teddy too long.
I like the meats. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, because that's what El Teddy put in the chat, right? Talking about some of my only preferences by peen size. Anyway,
hey man, bless God. Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, no. So again, when I first heard the comment about, hey mother, how you doing, babe? When I first heard the comment about Chris Brown and the VIP or whatever, now I think it's probably a little crass and a little bit bad taste to exclude people who are dark skinned. But if that's his preference, and I mean, let's be clear.
How many people do
you care what Chris Brown says?
My thing is, what about everybody else's preference? Like that goes beyond preference.
The issue is what he said. He said no darkies allowed. See, and I see this comment on you have on screen. What if it was the other way around and he didn't exclude light-skinned women? That hasn't happened. So we can't talk about what if he, she, or we did. It hasn't happened. Light-skinned women have not been included. But either way it goes, as we said at the beginning of the conversation, it's colorism. Either way it goes, whether it was dark-skinned women or light-skinned women.
It might be a situation where light-skinned women could be excluded from something just because of the fact that they.
I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is we made it very clear in the beginning. With us, it didn't matter whether it was light skin or dark skin. Colorism goes both ways. I mean, you and Abby established that in the beginning of the conversation. So that's colorism, either way it goes. My issue is when he said no darkies. Now, what is darkies? Now you're going a little bit too far. He can have his preference all he wants. But when you go and call, I'm a dark skinned woman, I'm offended by that. So maybe if you're not dark skinned, you don't understand. But darky is an insult to me. And I'm gonna be honest. And ever since I've heard that comment, Chris Brown, I won't buy crap of Chris Brown.
Well, I don't care. I ain't had nothing for him since he beat up Chris Brown. I mean, he beat up Rihanna, so I ain't got nothing to do with that. I mean, I recuse myself from that because I can't speak on it because it didn't. Him using the term dark. Anyway, all right, I'm not gonna.
Darky is offensive to me.
Yeah, I mean, and you was kind of shaking your head, really, B, but you've never been in. I'm sorry, y'all, my bed frame. You guys have never been in that instance where you've been called that, so it is offensive. I've been called darky.
Yes, I have.
I've been called darky on a playground before, so I know how it feels. It's very embarrassing.
Hold on, Simone. To a white person, they don't give a damn. So I've been called all of the above. Okay, yes, I have.
You and I both, yeah.
I've been called a darky. I've been called a jigaboo. I've been called a monkey. I've been called all of the above because they don't care.
Well, but it hurts me more so coming from a black person than it does a white person. I expect that from them. I don't expect that from my own. So it cuts a little bit deeper to me. That's just my opinion. I went to all white high school. We was called niggas and everything else.
Yeah, I went to white high school too. Yeah.
This is my parents from the suburbs. We were like the 10th black family in the neighborhood. So I'm used to being called that by white people. It doesn't faze me. But when I come to the comfort of my own people and they're doing the same thing, it cuts deep. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I said, we gotta have a part 2 of this because, like I said, I have story for days growing up as a dark-skinned woman. And like I said, my grandfather used to call us darkies. He used to call us all types of things. You know, so
and
I think that's where Chris Brown went wrong when he said darkies.
That goes back to something that James Caldwell, shout out to James Caldwell, who's in the chat. But that's something that James Caldwell always says. He says that heterosexual cannot hurt the gay community more than they can hurt themselves. And so I understand your point, Simone. I agree with that. I expect outside people to insult me, but when it comes from my own race, it bothers me. It cuts me deeper. So I accept what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. And like I said, I recuse myself from an opinion on that because it didn't hit me no kind of way. But you're right. Maybe that's where I don't know. Was it in bad taste? Yeah, it was in bad taste. And it was definitely rude and disrespectful. But again, like I said, I wrote Chris Brown off a long time ago. So I'm not defending that man at all.
You don't have opinion either way, basically.
Yeah. Lady, I was gonna say Lady P. Lady T, go ahead and I'm sorry, babe. Go ahead and share what you're gonna share, and then we're gonna get ready to close it out.
Yeah, no problem. In regards to Chris Brown, I just have like 3 points. Number one, we're talking about a party. Okay, you could have made sure or made certain that there was women there that were your type without excluding dark-skinned women. There were other people in the park, unless he was in the VIP alone by himself, you know, then that's a different story. But if you had other men and women there, you know, you would think that he would want to make it fun for everybody. You know, not everybody's into solely light-skinned women, you know. And in regards to him being, you know, on a light skin, I found that very interesting because typically my issue is I'm not excluding. I've dated all types of guys, but I do prefer a dark skinned guy, and they don't prefer me. I'm usually approached. I'm usually approached by light skinned guys with I can't get away from them. I'm so happy that the guy I'm seeing now is my color. I don't even know what to do. It's so fun when you see all of that chocolate all together like that.
Okay, all that.
But yeah. Typically it's the other way around. The light skinned guys really, because everybody's, you know, the real goal is to be like Nia Long's complexion. So the light skinned guys want to get with the dark skinned girls to create the caramel. Like I don't know if you all see it in your communities, but I see it where I live. So that's been my experience. That's pretty much all that I have to say. I wrote Chris Brown off a long time ago as well. But I'm not going to sit here and say that what he did was like, it was reflective of his issues. He has like a bunch of them then, you know? Can I
ask you one question, Lady T, and maybe Really B and Evie, we can maybe come back again on the panel on this subject. You said you're from New York. So when we were talking earlier, do you have an issue with anybody besides Black people using the N-word?
Yeah,
I do.
That's a very interesting question.
Yes.
I do.
See, I do too.
Yeah,
because I live in an area where there's so many Latinos, and we're kind of like just all mixed up. They use nigger, and sometimes it just flies. Like it depends. There's a tone that comes along with it that you just know that they're like, they consider themselves to be the same. Like they just consider themselves like Afro Latin, and they think that it's that they have a right to it. But I remember when I was working with this Puerto Rican lady, and we were talking, and we were talking about multiculturalism because we worked in the social work field, and we were going from houses to houses. You have to be very mindful of, diversity. So we were having a conversation about diversity, and I said, yeah, when you talk about the entire diaspora, she was like, yeah, because I'm more of a nigga than you are. That was insulting.
Did she get punched in the mouth? What happened?
No, she got taken to HR. That's what she did. She got taken to HR. I took her to HR, and I let her have it. And we were both Capricorns. So,
yeah. It was, and this is what I'm saying. We can have another panel later on because I feel that people in New York use that as an excuse because I've been in New York. I have family there, and we all grow up together. I don't care who I grew up with.
It really is.
I don't care. I have white friends that I grew up with who lived in my neighborhood, and they know they better skip. I don't care if it's a rap song on. They better skip that N-word.
It's different because
I'm gonna punch them in the face.
Some of them are black, like they're black.
But they're black when it's convenient. They're black when it's time to say the N-word. But I bet you when it comes time to being arrested or time to get a job, they're Latino. So this is the issue I have.
I knew El Teddy was a Capricorn. I knew it when you read Lady T. I said, "Ooh, I kept on asking everybody if he was a Capricorn."
And you talk to somebody whose grandfather is Afro-Latino. My grandfather is Cuban, and I grew up. I have relatives in Cuba. I actually have pictures where I went to go visit them 2 years ago. So I have family who feels that way too. I got some that's light. And I have some that's dark. When I was over there, when I actually went to Cuba and I've been to Cuba.
That's like little Africa.
You've been to Africa?
No, I said Cuba's like little Africa.
It is. I mean, and when you go there, you be like, oh my God, these people, I never knew, based on what you see on TV, that you have people there that are this complexion.
Oh, so, yeah, definitely, yeah.
So I'm telling you, when I went, it was a rude awakening for me. So I'm just asking that, and like I said, maybe we can have another panel later on about that. But I think that's a good topic.
It comes from a place. It really does. When she said
plays into colorism also.
I knew where she was coming from. But there are times when you would walk through the street and you would hear like, "Yo, my nigga," da, 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 da. And you know where it's coming from. It's not coming from. It's coming from the same place. It's coming from with us. There's nothing else there. So it really is different in New York. It really is.
And I said that
from down south. If you're not black, you can use the word. You have the freedom to use the word, but you don't have. You also have the freedom to get this fade as well.
And I told you I had that conversation with my students when I worked at the jail. And I'm not going to reiterate that whole story. I told it in a live another time. But basically, long story short, we ended up having a conversation about why the Latino students, why the Latino kids were allowed to use the word when they wouldn't allow anybody else. And we had a whole conversation about it. And so it was a very, I'll tell that story again because I don't want to get caught up. I'm going to end this on a funny story. But before I'm going to end it on my funny story, I want to shout out my ladies on the panel. If you are not already subscribed to, let me put their names back up here. Hold on, because when I put the comments up, the names go away. If you are not already subscribed to Every Reviews, please make sure that y'all go ahead and click on and subscribe to her. That's my big sis. We're trying to get her to 1,000, you guys. So if you are not subscribed, go check her out. Lady T is also a content creator, and she is a graphic designer. Am I saying that correctly? You're a graphic designer?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so definitely go check her. She actually, when she does her live, she actually shows you while she's working on different people's banners and things like that. So definitely, and she has other content too. So definitely go check Miss Lady T out. And thank you, Lady T, for coming on. Simone Moore, again, I want to thank you for coming on. She's a big supporter of mine, and she may be dibbling and dabbling and sticking her pinky toe. She said sometime in 2020 on these YouTube streets. And so I appreciate all three of you ladies coming on. I definitely know that we're going to have a part 2, part 3, part 4. And based on some comments I saw in the chat, I think we're going to have to definitely do one where we have some guys on here because they definitely have a different point of view and a different opinion based on their experiences. Deshaun talked about his experiences being dark skinned growing up. And Deshaun, I think your complexion is beautiful. You hear me? With your little Gerald Levert looking self. Anyway.
Isn't he adorable?
He's a cutie.
I was reading his comments. They broke my heart. His comments broke my heart, but I could feel him. I understood him, and he's a very handsome young man. So that's just sad.
He's even more handsome in person, y'all.
He's one of those. Okay. Listen, Really B, can I say something real quick? Can I say something?
Miss New York, can I say something?
Jaded Nerd and Ebby, I have downloaded these images that are you all. I have to, please email me. Let's talk about something in terms of like banners and logos and things like that, because I was scrolling through, I was looking for something for another content creator, and I found Jaded and I found Ebby, and I had to do something with them. I don't know. They can't just sit in my doggone file. Okay.
I'll make sure I'll forward her your email address, lady. Okay. I'll forward it to her and Jaded as well. Okay. So I'm gonna end this on a funny story since we're talking about people using the N-word. Mm-hmm. So I was at karaoke. Now I don't know if y'all know, here in DC, a girlfriend of mine, she told me she was joining a karaoke league. Now I have never heard of a karaoke league in my life. You have teams. Listen, you have teams. And you compete against each other with different songs. They have a theme. So it might be 80s night. So all the songs come from the 80s. And they actually put on costumes and act. It's really interesting. But as you can probably guess, the majority of the participants are like this and not like this, right? And so we went one night to support my girlfriend because we were just like, okay, we got to see what this is all about. We got to go check out this karaoke league. And it was interesting. It was a fun night. But of course, the majority of us, we had a whole table. It was probably about 8 or 9 of us. And we were all, like this. And during one of the breaks, you could go up and sing karaoke in between rounds and stuff like that. So this white guy goes up there to sing. And he decides that he's going to sing Gold Digger.
Oh, Lord.
Wow.
So what was funny was it was unspoken. None of us said anything to anybody. We were at the table. We were drinking. We were talking. We were enjoying our time. And as soon as it got to the hook, when I tell you that the whole table got quiet and we all hit her with a, like, I just want to see if you going to say,
right.
I said she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with a bro. When I tell you, all of us just stopped in mid-sentence and just looked like, okay. And when he skipped it, we were like, oh, all right, then. And we went back to our conversation. Because I was like, I don't know why you would pick a song like Gold Digger. Okay?
Maybe you ever forget, like, you do something, and then when you get to it, you're like, oh.
Okay. I was like, I don't know if he put that song in there before we got there or what. I don't know, honey. I said, now I don't know what you do when we not here, but I'm gonna tell you what you won't do today. All right, ladies. I want to send a special shout out to my mod in the room, Captivating Christian. You have been holding it down, bruh, and I appreciate you as always. I saw Jada come through a little earlier, but I appreciate it. But we're going to go ahead and shut it down. I thank you guys and thank you for your time. And I will see y'all next time because we're going to definitely do this again.
It was fun. Thank you so much, Really B.
All right.
Thank you, Really B. And I enjoyed you, ladies. And you guys enjoy your week, Sunday.
Same here. Have a good one.
You too, ladies.
All right, man. Ending it now.